Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome on back to the channel, Football Therapy, with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News. Still waiting, ladies and gentlemen, at time of recording for the official announcement by Chelsea Football Club that Todd Boehly's consortium with Clearlake are the new owners. They are the new owners. Anyone that's been following what's been happening on Company's House will see how we are now Chelsea Football Club Holdings Limited rather than PLC. People are being registered in the business. It's happened. We're just waiting. And as I said before, when they do an official reaction media announcement, talk to Todd and do an interview, I'll of course react here. So make sure you're locked in. Please do drop a like if you want to support the content. I really appreciate that. You're all welcome to subscribe, and if you do, turn the bell on, because there's so much going on at the moment and you don't want to miss a beat, mate. Listening to you guys, I've moved the microphone a little bit. I've tried to sort out the gain and signal, and hopefully the audio is better for you guys. Constantly trying to make the content as refined and as good as possible for my viewership. Today we're talking about signings, transfers, Nkunku, Cucurella, lots to talk about, and Kounde. Let's start off with Kounde, because this is, it's pretty much done. He's like hanging out, he's hanging out with Tchouaméni at the moment, but he's like talking with Trev Chalobah on social media. I think they probably reached out when he knew he was signing last summer, or thought he was, and they've sort of become online friends, I suppose, talking to each other. Kounde, we can expect an announcement probably imminently after the takeover is complete. So that would be Todd Boehly's first Chelsea signing complete. Now, if you've listened to Matt Law talk about Chelsea, Todd Boehly, and the situation on the London is Blue podcast, you'll probably know. I'd recommend it. My friends that run that podcast, he talks about Todd Boehly's all in, and so is the new ownership consortium with Thomas Tuchel, and they want to give him time to build. And in terms of the transfer strategy and the rebuild, it's at the moment sounding like they're very much going to give him the keys. It's going to be like, hey, you know what? You know about this at the moment. You want to build a team. We can see what the problem is here in the Premier League. Guardiola and Klopp have built teams. You haven't built a team. You've just got players here. We're coming with investment, we're coming with ideas and contributions, but we understand you need the players you want at the moment to develop your ethos and philosophy, and that's great. Todd Boehly has been interviewed before speaking about how he runs sports teams, and he says, what I do is I find the best people to run the team, and I let them run it. As in, like, I don't interfere, you do your job, you're the best at what you do, I will remain the face, and I will remain a figure in the club that wants what's best for the team and intervenes when necessary. And with that, Chelsea's rebuild will begin. Of course, we've talked about at length, after the exits of the two centre-backs, potential exits of the full-backs. We need more people in. We are going to talk about Nkunku in a minute in his stats, obviously being heavily linked to big sides. Leipzig want to keep him. But Chelsea are reportedly in for Cucurella of Brighton, a very, very impressive fullback, Marc Cucurella, for around £45 million. Doesn't surprise me at all that he'd cost £45 million if you consider Ben White cost £50 million for Arsenal from Brighton. The thing is with Cucurella, he's not English. As an English premium, players cost more. It's just the way it is. That's half the reason probably why Harry Maguire cost so much bloody money, mate. Cucurella for 45 million, he's an excellent player, and I think every Chelsea fan would be very happy to have him as like rotational cover for Ben Chilwell. But is a £45 million player rotational backup for a £50 million player in Chilwell? I'm not so sure. But then again, many of you might speculate, and rightly so, say, well, it's not just about backup, Jan. It's about challenging Ben Chilwell. And despite how good Ben Chilwell is, and we all know he's very, very good, there's nothing wrong with having an excellent superstar young player in behind you that's forcing you to be better. Or, if your form dips, he takes your place, and then you're neck and neck trying to get, your spot back. Of course, Ben Chilwell had to deal with Alonso taking his space initially when Thomas Tuchel came in, until Tuchel was like, okay, yeah, it's Chilwell. He's the one, mate. He's the one we need. So I'd be really interested and, keen to hear your guys' thoughts on Marc Cucurella of Brighton. They get empty, we get Cucurella. They certainly made a lot more money out of us than we would have made out of them. But I'd be very interested in him signing, maybe just to take the load off. I think Thomas Tuchel does want Emerson back. But if you said to him, look, you can have Cucurella instead, he'd be like, okay. But I personally feel like financial priorities aren't lying there at the moment. So let's talk about Christopher Nkunku. I'm going to read an article now off the Metro talking about him. Chelsea growing confident of luring Christopher Nkunku away from RB Leipzig this summer. We'll talk about the Timo Werner comparisons. We're going to look at his stats in a minute. Don't worry, so strap yourselves in and get comfortable. Chelsea are interested in signing RB Leipzig's Nkunku this summer and believe if they have a chance of prizing him away from the German club, or they believe they have a chance. Nkunku, who's only 24, of course, has been a revelation in the Bundesliga this season, scoring 20 goals in 34 appearances, also laying on 13 assists. So that is 33 goal involvements in 34 games, which is incredible for like an attacking midfielder. He's not really a centre forward, is he? The Frenchman is out of contract in 2 years' time, which of course is right in the slot for the selling club, isn't it? And is believed to be negotiating a new deal with his current club. So it's also the deal that will be negotiated. They're trying to put in a buyout clause in the same way they did with Timo Werner, which of course Chelsea activated for about £47 million. However, according to Goal, Chelsea are growing confident they can disrupt talks and tempt Nkunku with a move to Stamford Bridge. But the West Londoners will have to fight off Real Madrid, who also thought to be tracking him. Man, Real Madrid, you've already taken Aurélien Tchouameni off us, Camavinga off United. Just chill out for a bit, you know? I know you're angry and upset about Mbappe, but just chill for a moment and let some other people have some fun. Alright? Nkunku is highly rated by Ralph Rangnick at Man United, who was reportedly shocked when he learned his own scouting department were not looking at the forward. I mean, yeah, we're not talking about United. Nkunku has been named Bundesliga Player of the Year, which is huge, by the way, like over Lewandowski, over any other Bayern player. I mean, it's, you know, certainly to win it over Lewandowski is huge, so he won Player of the Season. Would have been an attractive option for the Blues, whose attacking players have struggled this season. Amen. The likes of Pulisic, Werner, Ziyech have failed to hold down a regular place in Thomas Tuchel's side. Meanwhile, Romelu Lukaku has just scored 8 times in the Premier League since moving to Chelsea last summer. With Christensen and Rudiger confirmed to be leaving the club on free transfers, Chelsea will focus on the defence. True, however, poor performances up front in the second half of the season highlighted issues in the team's attack. Yeah, so Thomas Tuchel, Matt Law spoke about this on the London is Blue podcast. He said, look, despite needing to rebuild the defence, Thomas Tuchel is understandably not happy with the attack. And not only is he going to look to freshen up the attack and find profiles that suit whatever the hell is going on up there, but also, you know, he's going to have to do some soul searching and say, right, what's going on in my tactics? Matt Law said that he'll do some analysis of Liverpool and City, what's going right for their attackers, and compare with them, as you should in any sort of model, business model, or, you know, whatever line of work you're in. Speaking last week, Tuchel suggested he would be looking to sign new forwards this summer. Forwards, plural? Jeez, more than one? Surely not. He told reporters, quote, "If I stick to the group, then we will try to solve it with these players. It is necessary to bring more offensive players around the box to create more distractions, to create more space for each other. The numbers we produce from our offensive players don't allow us to overperform, and we need an overperformance if we want to be nearer those two at the top. I'm not pointing fingers, I'm not blaming anybody, but we need an overperformance from everybody. It's not he loves that word, doesn't he? It's not overperformance if we have single figures in scoring and assisting. Hey, man, it's just true, man. You can't dilly-dally and dance around it. We need better numbers for, like, you know, assists and maybe feeding Lukaku. Maybe he sees that as a solution. A great pre-season with Romelu Lukaku, who's set to sit down and have talks with Todd Boehly, as well as, I suppose, eventually Thomas Tuchel. And reportedly today, he is going to sit down and try and, or his people are going to sit down with Inter Milan and see if anything can be done. Inter might be thinking, after being, you know, pipped to the title by their city rivals AC Milan, that they will think, okay, so what can we do to try and get the title back? Rom back, you know, they'll probably get a better deal than what we sold him for, and we know he can score goals out here, maybe. And, you know, Lukaku might have that in mind. Right, let's go back to Christopher Nkunku, because everyone's been watching his highlights, the Bundesliga highlights, and everyone's having PTSD from Timo Werner. Go back from 2 years ago, watch the highlights from Timo Werner's last year or two at Leipzig. These, the show reel. He looks like the best player in the world. I know he's running in behind high lines in the Bundesliga, but not just that, the confidence. And it is kind of similar with Nkunku. He hasn't scored as many goals as Werner out there. Werner had an explosive season before he came to Chelsea. And maybe because it's, a player running into space in the Bundesliga, you have PTSD. But the fact how he's an RB Leipzig forward wearing the same kit, it just makes you go... It's like, you're sort of having Vietnam flashbacks. But let's have a look at his scouting report for context. Here we go. So this is him against all the best attacking mid and wingers in Europe, and of course I've looked at what he's good at. So goals from last season, but we would have seen the same from Timo Werner at Leipzig. He's in the top 1%. He's the best of the best for attacking midfielders and wingers for scoring goals. A goal every 0.74 goals every game. Non-penalty goals as well, 0.69. So he scored a few pens. Non-penalty goal and assists per 90 is 0.73, which is very, very good. Again, he's the top 1% for most of these. XG is the top 1%. Non-penalty XG is the top 1%. I forgot what GCA is. Progressive passes received. So he's always in the right available space to go and score as well. That's really, really important. Top 1%. Penalty kicks won. This is massive. Top 1%. But Timo Werner used to do that as well, running and carrying into the box. He wins a penalty nearly once every 5 games. That's actually super consistent. Over a season, that is deep. That one every 5 games over a season, or just worse than that. That's a lot of penalties to be won. But this is all the similar kind of stuff Timo Werner's done. I'm not saying Nkunku isn't amazing. He's young as well, and you play with that amazing French squad and whatever. And he takes a lot of shots, top 2%. Non-penalty XGs, top 4%. Shots on target, top 4%. For attacking mids as well, that's good numbers. Loads of shots on target, high XG. So he's actually been outperforming his XG, which is really impressive. But it's impressive, but also, do you want to know what else that is, guys? Untenable, in terms of continuing. You can't keep... when you buy a player who's been outperforming their XG, massively raise eyebrows, because if you're buying them on that numbers, it has to go down, surely. So shot creating actions as well, he's very high. He's good at pressing in the attacking third, which is Thomas Tuchel all over. We said that about Raheem Sterling when looking at a scouting report. That's the kind of stuff Tuchel wants, getting high turnovers in the attacking third. That's what he wants with those pressures. Lots of goal creating actions because he gets loads of assists, and etc. It doesn't get dribbled past much, but why should he as that player in attacking third? And top 10% for expected assists. Pretty darn good, man. Nkunku is a good player, he's a good attacker, and at this point, I know you're right to make concerned stuff about Timo Werner comparisons because of the league he's playing in, the team he's playing in, and the style of running in behind quite a lot. Many of you will be right to say he's got better technical ability than Timo Werner. No slight on Timo, I like Timo, but, we've got to think forwards now, do you know what I mean? What do you think, guys? I think it's really interesting. I like the idea. I'm at the point now, if Thomas Tuchel wants him, if Thomas Tuchel says, this is my guy, that's where I'm at, man. Honestly, genuinely, if he wants him, he'll speak French to him, he'll talk to him, and that's all I can say. I'm really keen on getting your thoughts and opinions, guys. Make sure you drop them down below. Thank you for liking the video, and subscribe if you're new. Make sure you keep it locked, because as soon as the announcement's done, we're reacting to it. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I love me, baby.